You have to be sure that your data is protected and secure. You have to put in a lot of control, but you need to know that it's very easy that someone can access to your system.
But do you think that we need to be a little bit in paranoia? You know, do we need to live in paranoia thinking that something is going to happen to our companies, or?
Not in paranoia, but we need to be sure that this will come. You need to be sure that all the different actors, all the ecosystems have to be secure, not only you. And for that, you need to extend your security to the rest of the partners that you have.
For the telecom companies, what services do you believe that are going to be there in the digital transformation? Because in 25 years, hopefully, we're already digitally transformed.
But for sure, one of the big tendencies is that the company, as you said, the telcos cannot keep only on the communication layer. We have to increase additional services for sure.
Welcome to another episode of the Tech Foresight podcast, where we go deep into the future of technology, innovation, and digital transformation. Today, we have an exciting discussion lined up with David Mañas, the Vice President of Cloud and Cybersecurity Services and board member for T-Systems in Iberia. We will explore the evolving role of the telecom companies as integrators and digital transformation leaders, providing crucial services like cloud computing and cybersecurity to governments and enterprise worldwide. We're going to discuss the current challenges, future opportunities, and the transformative impact these advances will have in the industry over the next 5, 10, and 25 years. Thank you, David, for being with us, for daring to exercise a tech foresight with me, and doing it today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that session. I am really happy to be here. Let's see, because there are challenging questions about the future. We don't know which will be the future for the next 2 years. Talking about the next 5 or 10 years will be very, very challenging for sure.
Well, it's the exercise that we love to do, you know, because at the end, it's us that work a lot in this telecom, in this technology industries, the people that we are seeing in the future. And, you know, telecom companies are rapidly expanding their services portfolios to include all these cloud and cybersecurity services. And according to Gartner Group, the global cybersecurity market reached already 170 billion back 2 years ago, you know, highlighting the immense demand and complexity in this field. What are the current challenges that telecom companies face in providing these cloud and cybersecurity services to government and enterprises?
Well, in fact, I think this is one of the main trends and issues for the telecommunication companies, for sure. As you said, it's a huge market, and it's growing around here in Iberia, for example, around 16% year on year, around between 16, some years 20, 25, and it's a huge demand on that. And due to the huge threats that is outside coming from the current ones, and talking about the future, the new ones will come from the artificial intelligence, etc., etc. It's a huge topic, and the companies are investing a lot on that topic. And I think one of the main ones is that to be able, because there's a lot of small, big solutions to solve a lot of issues or potential risks. But I think one of the most important is the orchestration, the capacity to orchestrate all those components, to be able to really have an end-to-end view about what is happening, how you can correlate events from different systems, platforms, insights from the different communications with the different users, because finally, the main security breach usually comes from the users. And one of the telecommunications challenges for the future is to be able to be closer to the user, to be able to deliver them additional services, and the security will be one of them. It's not only about the security itself on your own business, on your own platforms, it's how you can really add additional business to the customers, to the users, to the citizens or the users that you are selling business for them. And I think this is one of the main challenges. And on that, now in what we are doing I'm part of Dutch Telecom on that case, and Dutch Telecom is huge believer on that science since 3 years ago. I have joined that company 20 years ago, and as minimum there are more than 15 years where security is a mantra constantly, and I think is one of the main priorities, but there are still a lot of things, and this is one of the main concerns also of the board of directors of that company, is to be able to find solutions of the near or the next challenges that will come. For example, talking about quantum computing, for example. The quantum computing is a huge topic on the security too, because all our keys that are defined or created for the current platforms and the current computing capabilities that we have, this will be solved very easily in the near future, maybe in the next 5-10 years. And it's a huge security breach, and the companies are working a lot to assure all those topics. I think it's for sure one of the main ones, and this will continue increasing constantly, not only from the business point of view, also from the effort and the investment from the different companies on that. Yeah.
You see, what I see is that with the acceleration of AI, right, as you just said, also with quantum, the cyber threats are becoming more sophisticated. The ransomware attacks alone are causing damages that by 2 years ago was already more than 20 billion. Yeah. The rise of these state-sponsored cyber attacks and the proliferation of the IoT devices services, they complicate all this cybersecurity landscape. And what I would love to know is what are those major cybersecurity threats that enterprises and governments itself, they need to be prepared for the next 5 years?
Well, as you said, this is, but the thing is, in general, I have seen, I think, a podcast, I don't know who was, but someone that was being part of those podcasts, and he was saying that the most important finally is the awareness of the whole organization about the security, because security is everywhere. I think you have to take over, you have to take care about the full security, not only in a big components, because for sure you need this completely observability and governance of that different components of security. But finally, what you need is to create really the awareness across the full organization. There's a lot of different technologies, about identity, for example, how you can assure the identity of the different, who is doing what. There are different technologies here. I think you know about that, about blockchain and other ways, how you can assure that the identity is secure, for example. This is because finally the main breaches of security are coming from the user itself. Again, the internal employee of the company, for example. And I think this is one of the areas where we are not doing enough effort still. I think it's not for the future from the technological point of view, is maybe not a big trend, but this, I think, the main concern and the main breach of security normally. And this will continue being the same. And I think the main effort should be put here on the awareness. To create the knowledge about that the security is everywhere, or the breach of the cyber attacks will come from everywhere, and you have to have that awareness about everything. You have to suspect about everything. For sure, you have to put in some controls on the systems, but I think you have to continue doing a big effort on that. For me, it's the most important. I'm the security sponsor of that company, and we are doing periodically some simulations, and we are finding still people that is going through those phishing or whatever. They are still the people is going, and we are a technological company, and the people know that those things should be avoided, but I think this is the most important, because still.
But do you think that we need to be a little bit in paranoia? Do we need to live in paranoia, thinking that something is going to happen to our companies, or?
Not in paranoia, but we need to be sure that this will come, for sure.
Yes.
I think companies as us, that we are doing a big investment on security, again, on the network, on the systems, on the patching of the systems. You have to have everything updated. You have to keep completely the platform in a huge level of maintenance. And for those things, for sure, the IA and the machine learning and all those things will help us to have a more, let me say, digital immunity. You need to have different contingency systems, for sure. You need to have not only third copies, you have to be sure that your data is protected and secure. You have to put in a lot of control, but you need to know that it's very easy that someone can access to your systems. This is a fact. Because
so what are the things that, for instance, we're doing today that you believe that in the next 5 years, or maybe on the other side, things that we're not doing today that in 5 years will be kind of like a given, like, come on, this is kind of like you needed to do. And I'm going to push you a little bit forward, that in 10 years are probably not even going to be necessary, because that comes maybe automated into our systems. What are those things in the evolution?
I think in the next 5 years, and again, based on the latest breaches of security that we have suffered on the telcos here in Spain, because I have more knowledge about in Spain, the main ones have been suffered because the systems itself from the telco provider was secure. But the access of the different users, in that case by partners, some small niche partners that was accessing and doing some, I don't know, administrative tasks or some service to those big telco companies, they was injecting the attack, let me say, or they were the way that there
was the breach.
The breach was coming from them.
Yeah.
And that, again, knowledge about, you have to be secure not only your platform itself, because finally you are protecting the access to your systems, but if you have someone that is authorized to be to access to the systems, you need to be sure that all the different actors, all the ecosystems have to be secure, not only you. And for that, you need to extend your security to the rest of the partners that you have. You have to be sure that all of them are fulfilling the same level of security that you are requesting to yourself. I think this is something that will happen for sure, because again, the main breaches are coming from the users itself, employees, but the ones that have been suffered during the last months on the telco side was mainly coming from external partners. And I think this will be a huge tendency to, let me say, mandate to them, or to force them, or to force us to be with the same level of security that they were. And this is topic, of course, true. You have to accept that this is a different cost. You cannot do the same services with lower solutions. You need to have a high secure solution that is for sure expensive, but is more secure. And the cost of security breaches, is depending on the issue, you can pay a huge penalty. And you are losing a lot of credibility in the market, etc. I think this is one of the most important. In the next 5 years, because I am always starting that they are the basics of the telco itself. They are the CISOs and all those different profiles that are taking care of their systems. Okay, understanding that the systems will be secured by itself. And I think we need to protect the rest of the actors that are accessing to the systems. In the next 5-10 years, for sure, one of them will be the IA. This is, as you said, is every time more sophisticated.
Artificial intelligence, you mean?
Exactly, the AI, in that case, artificial intelligence, exactly, sorry. Because every time the systems or the attacks are more sophisticated, more complex, and more difficult to be identified. Now it's very difficult to identify them. In the next 5 years, maybe it could be impossible. And we have to find the same ways to mitigate those ones. For example, using also artificial intelligence to identify those patterns with a high level of automation. We need to avoid manual work, a huge manual work everywhere.
And there's human error possibilities when we have all this manual work.
Exactly. There are some breaches of security or some lacks of not holes of security that we are doing when we are doing those manual activities. As I said, you need to be a little bit paranoid with your level of you have to avoid completely the end of life of the systems. You need to have all of them always with the latest version. It means some additional risk for sure, because you are updating the systems constantly. But for that, you have to invest also in a lot of automation, resilience of your platforms, as I said before, because this is a completely ecosystem. You cannot only apply security with the same platform, you have to change the platforms. On that will be a big change also, I am sure, to the cloud native. The cloud native will help us, or will help also the communications service providers to improve the flexibility and the resilience of the platforms, because you are moving to a more specialized, in that case, cloud providers, those functionalities, and they will take care of everyone. I think it's easy for, AWS or Azure to implement some security solutions that are, let me say, with a huge impact everywhere, that they can find additional measures to protect the platform itself. And we have to develop the solutions, again, with a high level of security, being sure that all the code that we are adding is going through the security processes. That is not the case today. There is a lot of developers that are not, let me say, taking in account the security. The security have to be also in the code that we are developing on the solutions, because the things are moving to the software defined. Everything will be by software, and it means that that software is part of the potential breach of security in the near future.
I see this. I mean, when we look into the future, the telecom companies have the potential to become that central global digital ecosystem where we are offering services that are integrating, hopefully seamlessly, with everyday life and work of the people. And the evolution of technologies, as you already mentioned, like quantum computing and AI, will play this pivotal role. So if we think in this long term, and I'm going to push you a little bit forward to 25 years, let's going to think a little bit what is going to happen then for the telecom companies. What services do you believe that are going to be there in the digital transformation? Because in 25 years, hopefully, we're already digitally transformed. Yeah. So what type of other services do you believe that telcos are going to be there, and hopefully we don't miss the boat?
Well, no, in the next years, let's see which is the future of the telcos. I'm not sure, because again, now we are in as you said before, with Gartner. Gartner is talking about the cooperation or the competitive partners, no? The partners that we have some agreements with partners that we are developing together. I don't know, for example, on that cloud industry, agreements today to develop the future of the telcos, but those hyperscalers are growing on that layer. Let me say they are taking part of that cake, and they are growing, and it's easy for them to deliver part of the services. This is a huge competition from them. I don't know, from that point of view, those competitive partners could be real competitors in the near future, in the next 5 years. In the next 20...
And when you call competitive partners, you're thinking not necessarily other telecom operators, but maybe partners that are kind of like bringing additional services, but now eventually might eat up your market.
Exactly. In fact, I'm not referring to the telcos itself, I'm referring to the others. Partners that are not on the telco business today, but for them will be very easy to move to the telco business.
Yeah, to disrupt us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because now, for sure, the fiber channel, the fiber today is a huge, let me say, advantage. But the telecommunication companies are a huge infrastructure providers. We are increasing a lot also the functionalities of the new services. For example, I know that this will take some years, but all those topics about the low health satellites, for example, that will arrive to 30 or 40% of the territory today that is not covered by the telco companies, because they don't have access to those high velocity services or with lower latency, etc. With that, you can have that competition that will come from them. This is one topic, for example. And those satellites that today we are doing some agreement with them, in the near future they will say, I will not need the operator, I can do that by myself, because they are growing vertically or horizontally, depending on the case. No? But for sure, one of the big tendencies is that the company, as you said, the telcos cannot keep only on the communication layer. We have to increase additional services for sure, and for that will be a huge increase on the partnership with the industries, moving from being a mobile or internet provider to an industry services. With that, we will close for sure. I don't know, in the next, I think will be early than those 20 years. This will happen during the next years, but this will be a huge integration between the operators and the industries. If not, we will not have a place to play, because again, from the service itself, the telcos will be more a commodity, pure commodity, and those services can be delivered by others, because as I said, those big players, for example, Google and others, or Facebook, for example, have the biggest network around the world about fiber. And for them, deliver part of those services and operator will be a
no-brainer. Yeah, but it happened already with Amazon, right? I mean, Amazon started putting all their services in their own servers, and then when they realized, well, we kind of like double our capacity. We're going to sell over, and today is one of big providers on the cloud to provide these server services, web servers. Yes.
And on that case, what should be or could be the future of the telcos in the next 20 years? Be really a content provider, because finally
aren't we late for that? Don't you think?
I think it's more that content is someone that is able to consolidate, integrate different contents from others, and really give to the users or to the clients a clear service, additional service from the catalog. I don't know how I can express that, because if you are keeping with the model only delivering communications, I think we will be out.
Yeah.
Also the big telecommunication companies have sell the antennas. What's the name?
The antennas, the towers. Yeah.
Towers, for example, a big part of them have sell those towers. It means sometimes we are not releasing from our infrastructure part of those infrastructures that are added value. Why? Because it's not the future. And that will be only pure commodity, because the new technologies will remove that. And I'm sure that we will find a way to high velocity or high and low latency using other systems and not pure fiber. And I think this is a question of time.
It's not if, it's when.
And the topic is when. For me, when exactly? Because the things are changing very, very fast. And that is not clear, the future. But what is clear is what we have to do now. This is clear. We have to integrate a huge automation in the operations completely. We have to integrate the artificial intelligence to have a more resilient platforms, more productive, predictive, more creating more value to the customers, not giving to the customer more options to do different things. This is clear. And if we are going on that way, we will find a way to have a future. If we are not on that path, I think this will be very, very complex for those companies.
I like that line of thought, because telecom companies, just like the T-System in your case, are continually evolving to meet all these dynamic needs of our customers. And obviously digital transformation has secured opportunities for companies like T-System, where companies are doing deals with new entrants, with the startups, with contracts and so on. I know that T-System over the past 2 years have acquired many companies, around 2 billion euros. Guys, you have write some checks over there. This year only in sectors that are enterprise software, enterprise tech in Europe, IT services. So what unmet needs, what challenges that you are foreseeing for your company and your customer in the future could be addressed by these new inventions or innovations? If a founder today that is watching this podcast is thinking in a way of a groundbreaking product or solution, what should they focus on developing that can support T-Systems and its clients in the future?
No, I think they are on the M&A side. The company have a clear strategy that whatever we are looking to be scalable, productive, should be something that we can productivize. It's not a specific solution that we can apply in a specific market. Should be worldwide. We are a worldwide company, and we are looking for solutions that can be scaled, have to be scaled. And this is a volume. This is a volume of or a business of volume, and we need volume. It means that if we can take solutions that can add added value to the users or customers in that case, and we can scale, I think this is the kind of companies that we are looking for. Normally, as I said, as much productivized as possible, because the tailored solutions are not scalable. We cannot keep them really for the future, and it's very difficult to manage that company with that handmade solutions. And as I said, if you want to simplify, and this is one of the priorities of those companies, to simplify the model, to have as less, manual operations as possible, the focus will be always on those kinds of things. But I think on the other way, I am seeing now, but it's not a trend for the future. Let's see that some of the operators are trying to sell part of the tech companies that they had. It means that they have the pure operator and some additional tech companies that were supporting them as cloud, etc. And some of them are selling. And I think part of that movement is based again on the partnership with some bigger players as Amazon or Azure or Google, for example. And because a big part of those agreements are coming, or we are leveraging on those big players, also part of the cloud native solutions. And one of the niche companies that can help us on, I don't know, startups, etc., is developing solutions that are pure cloud. I think if the solutions are not pure cloud, the future will be very, very complex. Pure native cloud as much as possible, because the companies...
And AI, quantum, what do you see there? Blockchain, what do you see there?
AI, for sure, artificial intelligence is there. Blockchain have a paper mainly on those security topics that are more on the identity management and all those kinds of things, because it's one of the main issues, the SMS that are creating a lot of problems not only in the operators, also in the banking. It's a huge topic. I am receiving constantly those kinds of messages, and as you said, every time are more sophisticated, more complex. I'm not an expert, but I am the security sponsor of that company, and so sometimes for me it's difficult to know if this is a real or not. It's a fake or it's a real message that I am receiving from someone. On that area, I'm sure that blockchain have a space for sure, and will be a main player in that area. On the on the quantum computing, I think we are still, maybe we need 10 years more or something similar, and we need to find the right space for quantum computing. Will not be applied everywhere. Okay, I think the traditional computing will have a significant piece of the cake in any case, because quantum computing, due to the today as minimum and the projections, have a lot of sense for some specific use cases, for some specific areas, but not for everything. But for example, on that topic of security, for sure, this will be an issue. It was launched a challenge to some university students some months ago to identify, to create algorithms to breach the passwords of the current passwords, and there are today cases that we can apply. I think the platform is not there. You cannot launch and take it, but there are people that are buying those or buying the credentials today from the dark web to have it to be able to unblock in 10 years, for example. Wow. I think this will be an issue, but not for the next years. And on that, there is a lot of startups, and I think the companies, the telco companies, have to agree with those startups to be on the wave, to keep updated, to see where and when we can apply those solutions. Because if you are waiting for this, when the solution will be in the market, you will be out also. I think you have to keep an eye on that, but not with a big effort on that, because there are, you need to have still on the investigation area, this is still on that area, but you have to be actively being part of that. I think it's not the core investment, but you have to be part of that development.
I understand. So, well, we are approaching the end of our podcast, so I would love to do a fast forward for the year 2050. I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions where I'm going to challenge you to answer with the first word that comes to your mind. Are you ready to accept the challenge?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Right. What is the dominant technology for 2050?
Artificial intelligence for sure, and quantum computing for sure on the 2050. Sorry, the second one.
Okay, the second one is the best cybersecurity measure in 2050. What do you think?
Paper.
All right. Leading country in digital transformation.
Leading country in digital transformation. I think China.
Yeah. What about leading telecom and secure cloud provider?
Will be Dutch Telecom.
Of course. Well, what will be the biggest cybersecurity threat in 2050?
I think will be very complex to keep the identity.
Identity. Yeah, that is hard. And what about the dominant form of communication in 2050?
I think it should be telepathic. In 15, maybe will be something similar, because I think we will be constantly connected with everyone. I don't know, but not telepathic, but technological telepathic. Also.
Technological telepathy. I like that. Okay, what do you think that by 2050 will be our primary energy source?
My view is that we will go to nuclear again, to mini nuclear systems that have to be developed or improved, but nuclear again.
Interesting. And then the last question on this is the most influential tech innovation today that will continue to be by 2050.
I think AI will be, for sure. And artificial intelligence, I think, with different evolutions, but yeah, I think this one. Again, but for me, always is going with quantum computing together, both.
Yeah, I think so too. You know what? Many youngsters are watching our podcast, and the new generation is avid to learn what the future will have for them. So I would love you to share your wisdom on what skills will be essential for professionals and companies, including telcos, to survive and thrive in this rapidly evolving landscape of digital transformation and cybersecurity, David. What are the skills that will be essential for those?
Mainly capacity to learn, investigate, because the systems will have the data and we need only to use it. We don't need to be a deep experts on topics. In some cases, yes, but in general, we need to be able to think by ourselves. And philosophy will be one of them, and ethics. And ethics will be a huge demanded profile. I don't know, it will be the most, but I think those ones will have a clear future, ethics and philosophy. And as I said, and from the technological point of view, you have to be able, more from the soft skills, you need to be able to adapt to the changes, because we have in the last, 10 years, we have changed constantly. The system solutions, things that we were not planned 3 years ago have appeared with a strong impact, and we need to be able to adapt to the reality, and for that we need to be always learning. I think it's more the soft skills than the hard ones, because the rest we will learn. I think this is not the issue, to be able to learn. You need to have the spirit and the curiosity to learn, the most important. Yeah.
All right, David, your insights have been incredibly valuable. Reflecting in our conversation, it's clear to me that the future of cybersecurity and cloud services come in the adaptability, in the long life learning, and in the constant, that the only constant that is secure, that is going to be there, is the change. Definitely. So indeed, it's complex and filled with exciting potential. Thank you for sharing your tech foresight with us today.
It's a hard exercise, that, Diana.
I told you it was going to be fun. It's hard, but it's fun.
No, it's fun. Thank you very much to host me. It was a pleasure, and I will continue learning. For sure.
Yeah, we both will. And we reached to the end of this episode of the Tech Foresight podcast, but our exploration into the future continues. I am Diana Daniels, and it's been an honor to be your guide today. Don't forget to subscribe and to share your thoughts with us. Every idea brings us closer to a brighter tomorrow. Keep challenging the status quo and stay engaged. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon and your mind very open to the endless possibilities that are awaiting for us. Stay foresighted. See you soon.